Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I want to invite you to tag along and come with me to plant my spring and summer garden. I'm gonna restart. It's been a few years that I hadn't had my raised bed or my vegetables and my dark leafy greens and all that stuff, but this year I've been re-inspired and I feel it's possible to carve out some extra time to tend to it because a garden does require a lot of time. Now, I don't have a super large backyard, but it's okay because we're gonna find some ways to create more space within the space that the good Lord has given us. So things like a raised garden planter that's easy, accessible, and moving around, and also a greenhouse it needs more of a height rather than width. So let's go find a greenhouse. Let's go see if we could find an affordable planter. As I am on a budget, I can't go too all out, and I don't want to go too all out with how much I spend, but I want to work with new plants and seeds and work with the gardening tools and items that I already have at home. So let's go and see what we can come up with. I've been so excited to restart this project, and well, to begin, my husband and I had to spend a weekend, mowing the grass and trimming the bushes and trying to get things out the way. We even needed to do some other heavy lifting around the house, so it was cheers to us. We got it done, and now it's time to shop for some new items here at Home Depot. So come shop with me. So first things first, I'm gonna do a combination of seed planting and planting flowers and plants to start the raised planter, and then the seedlings would be for the greenhouse. So here I want to get some marigolds because marigolds are great companion plants for tomatoes and peppers. They help repel pests. They keep pests away, and it also looks so pretty. So I was stuck between the yellow and the orange. I chose to go with yellow. Now, I have some basil seeds growing at home, but I need some pre-grown basils because these are also great companion plants for tomatoes. They do very well together. So we want to get a few of these. I love that there's like a 3 for 12 sale going on. Then to do a variety, I love this dill. It looks beautiful and it smells luscious. I could also use this for a lot of Mediterranean dishes. The basil, I make a lot of pesto at home. It's been a while, but I've done a lot of them with my old basil plant. I did like 3 different pots of pesto. Then I've been dreaming of a lemon tree for a long time. Now, these lemon trees with already grown lemons in it is a little bit more pricier, but it's not bad. I mean, 59, you get bang for your buck, right? But then I saw these these smaller Harvey lemons, and they were much more inexpensive for 20.98. So I was like, this one's perfect, budget perfect, and yard friendly. She's gonna go on a pot, and I'm so excited. Finally, I could have our lemon tree that's gonna go in the backyard with our mangoes, and I'll show it to you later in the video. And I was so tempted. Should I start getting pavers at this point? Well, it's too soon. I want to focus on restarting, okay? The beginner startup in the garden. I have some tips for you guys because I have gardened before, but I'm thinking ahead, I'm getting inspired here. I can't wait to do another vlog to show you guys how we redecorated our backyard and our lawn, but that'll come at another time. Let's continue shopping for what we came here for. And we got our soil, our mulch, both a combination of potting and garden soil, our plants, and seeds. I'll show you what seeds I got. But then we stopped by Aldi's and I found this planter. Guys, thank you, Jesus. I got it for $39. That beats the prices online. Now, at this point, I notice that it is starting to get kind of dark out. And when I pull out this planter, it had like 1,000 pieces. And I'm thinking, there is no way I'm gonna finish this before the sun goes down. So I pulled out my pieces so that I could build it indoors, and then I'll focus on the greenhouse for now. But look at all these pieces it came with. Yeah, that's one of the things. Gardener has to prioritize time, the sun, the lighting,
and all the hard work that goes into this, but it's worth it, guys. Don't be discouraged. Let's tag along. So I prioritized, I brought the pieces inside and said, you know what? I could build the greenhouse faster. The weather, well, it's not going to rain today. And I may have some extra time to sow some seeds, which gets me so excited. It's like once I start, I can't stop. So anywho, here we are gathering our pieces. I'm making sure I don't lose anything. And I'm going to build this. I'm going to do this thing. It's a beautiful evening, and well, let's get to it. I looked at the manual, read a little bit, but it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to build her, and we're going to make sure that she's nice and sturdy. I'm praying and hoping for the best. I'm also working with 1.5 arms because one of my wrist is like hurt, but your girl is motivated, okay? Nothing's gonna stop me. I'm thankful to God for the ability, for the strength, and that I was able to find this. By the way, this greenhouse cost $20 at Aldi's. Yes, I was not expecting it. We passed by after Home Depot, so that's why I didn't get to vlog. And sure enough, I found this. I was like, this is perfect, especially when you're starting up your garden. And I'm gonna go over one of the benefits of doing a greenhouse in a moment. We will do a on ground, raised bed soon. I have the pieces in our garage, but we need to start up the seeds, which is why we begin with a tiered greenhouse. A tiered greenhouse helps.
It came with these little clips to clip the wire shelf onto the pole, and it creates more sturdiness. Then we're gonna cover it with the tarp, and then maybe the sowing the seeds will have to take place tomorrow because the sun's about to go down. So I feel like I'm racing against the sun, but it's okay. Thank God for the time He's blessed us with to get all these things done this weekend.
So as you heard, yeah, a green tiered house is gonna help, protect the seeds. I'll prioritize putting all the seeded, the seeds in pots in here to protect it from any heavy wind or birds or animals that want to peck at it. And then the planter would be used for the plants that are already starting up. Now, the only ick that I have with this greenhouse is that it came with these clips that I thought were a fabulous idea to hold the shelf in place. They kept popping out. I placed them a variety of ways. They just kept popping out. And I found to put just one on one side, one on the other. It brought a few per side, so I thought I could clip it to grip it extra, but that didn't work. They just kept popping out as you see on the video. And I later learned that just putting the pots on it just holds the shelf or the tier in place. It's fine. Thank God it hovers over, the rod that it's layered in. And now for the stakes. I love that it came with these stakes because they're gonna help us really, sow this greenhouse into the ground to make it sturdy. I had a little moment, take a breather. Now we're gonna go in. So here's the stake. I placed it right in the center of that hole, pressed it into the ground, and it holds down this greenhouse. And let me tell you, these are sturdy. I was testing it out, I was pressing it in, and we're gonna place a stake on each corner of the greenhouse all around. I even have a, pretty plant behind it to give it some flair. And voila! Yay, we're done! Thank you, Jesus.
All right, time to plant some flowers. I'm gonna use this seed starter tray to plant some of these Empress of India. These are gonna be used later on to decorate the garden, and hopefully some camomiles as well. I'm trying to beat the sun. In a few minutes, the sun will go down and it's gonna get dark. So tomorrow I will continue with part B, I guess I would call it. I feel like I've been working on the lawn and everything the whole weekend and in the house. Super productive and great, but in the garden aspect of it, I'll say part B. Tomorrow planting the vegetables and all that stuff so that we could build our raised bed. And that'll be the next chapter of this vlog. So Let's do this real quick before the sun sets.
So I'm going to begin by taking some soil and placing it into the pods of this container. This is great for seed starting. They're great seed starter. So all the seeds, as I mentioned, is going to go in the greenhouse to protect it. And I look forward to seeing these grow over the next upcoming days. In this vlog, I will provide two progress updates, a 6 day a progress update, and then another week. So you guys are going to see how much these seeds grew and how fast they grew, and also how much bigger the plants on the planter grew as well. So I'm gonna begin with these Empress of India. And reading the back, I discovered a great tip on how to sew these. So if you've never heard of the nail file trick for these, I'm about to share that in a moment, so don't go anywhere yet. And it's a beautiful bloom. It's a beautiful flower. I do want to focus on plants that are going to provide food, but I also want to, beautify the space, especially for when I plant in ground. In an upcoming video, I'll be able to transfer these in the ground and make it look so much more prettier.
Hey guys, so something I learned with the Empress of India seed to encourage and like speed up that germination process, they say to file the seed just a tad bit. So I have this brand new nail file that hasn't been used on nail, and I don't think it makes a difference, but this is the seed for the Empress of India, and you just, let me make sure not to file my action nails. File the seed just a tad bit, and it encourages the process.
That's so interesting, right? I thought it was super cool. I had to share it. Now we are all done filing them up. I hope this trick works, and I hope that it helps it and empowers it to germinate. We're going to give it a try. They do take a little bit longer than the typical plants to, germinate and grow and all that. So I plant them in faith, and now I'm moving on. I still got some sunlight out here. It's not pitch black yet. I just can't wait. I had to sow some more seeds. I love sowing seeds. I love seeing the seeds grow. And I believe I'm getting ready to sow some okra. And beginning the seeds in these pots are great. There were some pots that I already had, so I'm just recycling things and trays that my husband had for a project he was doing. So we're using that, and now I'm looking at this Clemson spineless okra. I always encourage to look at the map for the best time to sow seeds in your area, and to be aware if the plant you're sowing is either full sun, partial sun, or shade. That way you have the possible best outcome. And these are so adorable. It's amazing how God created everything to be, because every plant's seed is a different shape or size, and it's so cool. I've even seen like furry little seeds, and like this seed is like round and hard. It almost looks like a black pepper, but it's an okra, and it's more of like an olive or grayish tone. It's super small, but it's bigger than a mustard seed, smaller than a pepper seed, and I'm gonna sow 3 in here, 3 to 4. Because of the spacing, it's okay, especially when it starts to grow at about 3 to 4 inches. I'm gonna transplant this most likely into the ground or into another raised planter. God willing, I could purchase another one at Aldi's before the spring season comes to an end. And there you go. And also consider how many inches of soil you have to cover your seed in. That's another thing, because some seeds need more direct light, others need to be sown a little deeper in the darkness of the soil. And then I have these, label picks for the pots. Now I'm struggling to write a little bit because my wrist has been in pain. It's so hard to write, so I was like trying to be careful to write it so it still looks pretty. Unfortunately, I hurt my dominant hand, and well, the writing is challenging, but we made it. And it's starting to get dark, but I think I have some time to sew a little bit more. And so this potting mix bag is, giving us a lot. So I'm excited. I got a pot that I had recycled from years, guys. I did purchase some new items, but I did recycle some, and that saves money, especially when it's going to be temporary. These are going to be repotted somewhere. And I planted some zucchinis. Ah! In a few days, I moved the zucchini from the bottom shelf to one higher level, and it worked out way better. These grew faster than what I expected, and in a few clips, you'll be able to see that. They're currently very tall. Pretty soon, they'll need a trellis. Oh my God, and the okra. It's just so satisfying because it could be nerve-wracking to sow seeds. You don't know if it's gonna grow, if you have the green thumb or not. And is it really about having a green thumb? Maybe, maybe not. But as I mentioned, I recommend follow the instructions. Take care of it. It is an investment of time, energy, and money as well. But now let's go into some summer squash. We love squash. We love the zucchinis. There's a different varieties of zucchinis, so that's why you see me showing this here. And I'm so glad to see that I'm in the orange zone, and it is currently the best time of the year to plant these, so they shall be thriving soon. And as you see on this table, I have our whole setup of all the plants we recently purchased and the seeds, because I unfortunately had to break up this project within a few days. I couldn't do it everything in one day. Although it seems easy, it is very time consuming, and it's okay. You got to enjoy it as well. And check this out. Look at the zucchini, the squash zucchini seeds. They almost remind me of pumpkin seeds, which is interesting because they're all within the same family. They're squash. So, I love it. We're gonna sow these. No prep needed for the seeds. Just make sure you have a good draining soil, rich soil. And I'm gonna plant 3 of these. 2 of these germinated fairly fast. The third one came up a few days after, and she's doing well. I encourage you to also stay tuned because in the following vlog, I'm gonna provide a haul. After I finish this project, I was inspired and I thought to do a little bit more, take it a one step further, plant a little bit more seeds and even get new seeds. So in the next vlog, you'll see I do a haul for a store that I found really good quality garden items and seeds for a lower price. Good quality stuff, just inexpensive, and I'm going to share my tips and tricks with you guys. And there goes my okra. My okra is doing so far so good. I can't wait to share that with you guys. I really want to inspire you to grow your own food and know that it's possible.
Hello everyone. So the following day here, I just got out of work, ate, showered, changed, all the stuff, but I have to beat the sun because it is way later in the evening. So I have a few minutes to finally put my plants into this raised planter. As you see, I finally built the thing and it is gorgeous and it's really pretty, and I really like that it comes with the liner for inside of the raised bed, and that liner is going to hold the soil over the base and help carry everything all together. I love it because I could move this around and sunshade so that everything could have the proper sunlight that it needs. And yeah, I'm just playing here with the Florida weather that even sometimes in spring it feels like fall. I mean, spring feels like summer sometimes here in Florida, so it's nice and hot. So I'm also trying to be intentional with what vegetables or fruits I'm gonna plant during the spring and summer. And then also during the week I'll prepare other squash seeds in preparation for the fall. So the way I do this is I'll plant those seeds in the pot, put it in the greenhouse, and then around fall time, late September to October, those will be ready to be replanted, transferred into a raised bed in full sun out and about. So yeah, we're working with what we got and with the space, and I'm just so grateful to God for blessing me with you know, the ability this month and the budget to get a few extra things, combine it with what I had, and thank God for the space I have in my backyard. I don't have a super large backyard, but I have a little bit of space to work with. So hey, we're using what we got, and well, it's time to plant some food. Let's go. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If it's your first time here, I want to say welcome, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that YouTube notifies you when I post another video. Tag along. My name is Narda Miller, and I post lifestyle and faith-based content here. I welcome you to subscribe, and well, let's get to it. How am I gonna get this thing out of here? Ooh. We got this. First things first, we're gonna put some layers of dried branches in the foundation of the planter. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. There's intention and purpose behind that. So when the purpose number one is filling the foundation of my planter to create more of grounds, and that way I don't have to use as much soil. But also another good reason to do this is because when you have a buildup of all these branches in the foundation and then you top the soil, it creates what I like to call little pockets or gaps all the way in the bottom of the planter. So when it rains or when I water the plants, water will accumulate in those like pockets in the bottom, so that when the soil at the top dries out or in the center, the roots of the plants feed off of that water. Of course, we have to continue watering, or I'll do one of my bottle watering techniques that I've done for a few years, and we'll put that on the planter too, especially if we step out for a weekend getaway or a little vacation. I know that my plants are receiving adequate watering and sunlight even when I'm gone, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright guys, so it's time to finally plant my tomatoes, the beef tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes, and then I'm gonna do that in the center so they could have more than enough space to grow and blossom and give fruit, right? For the fruit, have space for the fruit, right? So, and then we'll do that in the center because the planter isn't too large. It's fairly, fairly spacious, but we want to prioritize the spacing for the actual fruit plant. And then on the perimeter outside, right, area of the fruit plant, we'll put the companion plants so that it could protect them from pests. Let's get to it.
All right, so it's getting more fun from here. Take your shovel or your hand, whatever tool you have, to begin sizing the whole of, that you're gonna create to plant your tomato plant, as you see me doing here. And you'll see after a while, I like remove these gloves because I feel they get in the way. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. With one hand, grab the plant, the other hand, the pot, twist it off. Gently, you see the roots already like overgrowing there. That means that pot was no longer big enough. So we have to replant these. Now, loosen the soil of the plant. You see how that way the roots are nice and loose. Plant it, and now they could flourish. And repeat this, for every other plant. And you want to make sure they're covered. You want to make sure that no roots are sticking out so that they're deep in there. You don't want to cover the tomato plant too much where the leaves are being touched because they don't like that. But definitely, make sure they're nice and covered. And if you like, you could.
I'm excited. So far, it's looking good. Here I have my big beef tomatoes. These are the large, juicy ones. And on the left and the right side, I have husky cherry red cherry tomatoes, which I got 2 plants of these because I use them more. We eat more cherry tomatoes than the big beef ones. These would be for like burger salads or I don't know, juicing or something. But anywho, now we're ready to plant the surrounding plants. But before we do that, I do want to remind you that at some point after you sow the companion plants, we're gonna have to get more soil to top everything out at the top. And also remember that after your first watering post planting, the soil will naturally drop, which means that you will need to add a little more soil. All right, perfect. I have the companion plants. I'm gonna sow in the basil and the dill first, find a good spot for those to flourish in, and then we'll top it off with these beautiful marigolds. That's gonna serve to repel pests from our tomato plants.
All right, so this is how she's looking. We have her set up the following day. As you see here, I put a bamboo stick to serve as a stake so that she could stand up firmer. And just a few days, like literally the following day, they seemed or felt like more grounded, even taller. The leaves were plumped up. Here's the dill. The dill is thriving. It got taller too. The marigolds are happy. They're blossoming new marigolds, and the cherry tomatoes, the basil needs probably a steak as well, but is doing good. And then this is just an example of where I, put all the seeds, the potted seeds in the greenhouse. Soon to come an update for how they're doing. And then I just want to show you guys our mango tree. Someone blessed us with this mango tree, with two of them actually a few years ago, and was estimated that around year 3 or 4, they would give fruit. And sure enough, at year 4, they're giving fruit. Year 3, they appeared to start giving fruit, but this year we actually have fruit, and I'm so grateful. So thank you, taking care of it, feeding it. And now I want to give you guys an example of how to grow your own sweet potatoes, which is fairly easy. You could do this from a sweet potato. Thankfully, I found this bag. I thought I was gonna have to go to the store to buy one, but then I found this bag after vacation. Two were left from the last time we used them, and they started to grow what's called slips. Now you could gently tear or cut off this piece of the potato that looks like a root. They're called slits. Um, and put it in water for a few days until the roots grow enough where you could replant it. Now you see here on my windowsill, I have a few things pending which I've already sown into the ground, like my green onions there. But in 2 weeks, guys, check out these sweet potato slips. They have grown leaves. They have grown beautiful roots that are long, and now we could sow this into either the ground, into some drained soil, or we can grow them in potato grow bags that I've put an example of here, and in about 90 days we'll have fruit. All right, and to the next project. The next one is that I'm going to repot our lemon tree that we recently purchased. So, following days, I went to back to Home Depot, of course, and got some citrus and avocado plant food, or tree food, right? Since it's a tree. But before I go put in the soil, I'm gonna get some of these shavings or clippings from when we were trimming and edging these past few days, and they dried off, and I'm going to use that as a type of compost or mulch for the bottom. I like to layer the bottom of the containers first for compost and for added drainage, and also that way it fills some of the space and I don't have to use all the potting mix in just this container, since it's fairly a larger container and it's deeper. Now, that is necessary for the lemon tree so that it could thrive, okay? But it's just a way of maximizing what you have. Now, I also got this perlite from Home Depot, and I'm doing layers of potting mix and perlite and mixing that all together. Although the potting mix comes with some perlite, I want to add some more because it's going to help the drainage of the soil. Lemon trees require a lot of drainage, moist, well fed soil, well watered soil, but a soil that's not going to damp up too much. We want to prevent root rot, okay? Similar to our tomatoes, same way. This tree needs a lot of watering, but it needs space to grow. So I didn't sow it too low. I started it off at a good range that I could still top it, but allowing depths into it. So happy gardening. Let's get to it. Hello everyone. So it is officially a 1-week check-in. So today is Saturday and it's officially 6 days, so we're going at a week that I restarted my garden, potting, sowing seeds and like doing the raised bed and all that good stuff. But the following day, from the original video of me trying to set up my whole game plan with the plants, the seeds, and the raised bed, the following day I planted zucchinis. And yesterday when I passed by the raised bed, I saw that the zucchini was starting to grow, 2 peas, and a little bit of the basil. That was yesterday. Now it's very sunny in Florida. It's spring, but it feels like summer. And look what I saw today when I opened it. Ah!
You'll literally reap what you sow. Oh my God, that's one. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 6 peas. Thank God, praise God for this pea plants. I hope and pray and declare that they will be fruitful and multiply. And then the basils, there's about 15, 16, maybe potentially, maybe 17 basil plants that I will separate when it gets too big. This one is the Empress of India flower. It does need a few more days, but I'm impressed that, oh my God, my okra. Oh my gosh, babe, the okra. So I planted 3 okras. It looks like, am I seeing correctly? Wow. So 1, 2, and there was a third one somewhere around here that may be coming out pretty soon. So I'm really excited. I thank God for this. So we have zucchini, the third one starting to come out, peas, okra, pending, and basil. And so I'm really excited about this. Sometimes people don't plant seeds because they're afraid that they may not grow, so they may opt for already, you know, pre-grown plants, which there's nothing wrong with that. You guys saw I did that with the tomatoes and the marigolds and the basil and stuff, but I have more basil here from seed, the basil in the raised bed that's going to repel insects from the tomatoes. And check the tomato, they already grew over an inch, probably I would say 2 to 3 inches taller than what they were. My hair is a mess, it's been a windy day, but yeah, I am so grateful to God. I'm so excited, and I'll be giving you guys an update. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. Feel free to subscribe. Also, my papaya plants, I went ahead and I planted her on the ground. She's almost half my size. We're about to trim and do edging because the grass on the borders of the fence looks really rough. We were somewhere today, and after we went to Home Depot, and I was able to pick up some perlite that's gonna help the drainage in the soil for the lemon tree. You guys saw when I purchased it in Home Depot, it's still in the same pot, but I really need to transplant it to a larger pot. I was contemplating whether to plant it on the ground or leave it in the pot. I decided to leave it in the pot just because I want to be able to move it around. And this type of lemon tree, it's a Harvey lemon tree, and they do really well in pots. I also want to be able to kind of manage the soil a little bit more and feed it differently. And I'm also trying to figure out the exact layout on how we're going to do things in the backyard. So I currently have 2 large mango trees, just planted the papaya, and I have the greenhouse there. For now I feel better having the lemon in the pot, so it's gonna go in a large pot. And I got more potting soil. This project is expensive. So it's been 2 weeks, and 2 weeks post planting these plants, the basil, the tomatoes, even the marigolds, and including the dill in the back have got taller. I even had to add this trellis in the center to hold them up, and I got a mini tomato growing on one. But before I continue with this tour, come with me. Let's go check what's going on here in our greenhouse, how the seeds are doing. Well, the Empress of India flower is going to take some time, but check this out. Just 2 weeks later, guys, even at a week, the okra is thriving, growing. The zucchini is doing well. Even the third one popped up. At the 6-day check-in, the third one hadn't popped up yet, and she came about. We got more basil, we got new basils, we got a new plant here. I sowed microgreen seeds, guys, from the Dollar Tree, and they're doing well in just 3 days. And then my mother-in-law, she gifted me this tomato and pepper plant, which I'm so excited about. It started to grow tomatoes, so we're so thrilled to share that and to be able to do with it soon. I grew some kale, bok choy is restarting there, and our lemon tree, we replanted a pepper tree that's growing some pepper, and my green onions I'm so excited about. Check this out, guys. Happy spring, happy gardening, don't give up, and remember, you shall reap what you sow. God bless you. Until next time.